The theological framework of the modern West is an ancient, universally accepted structure, currently undergoing total digital fragmentation. At the center of this collapse sits the college doctrine, the academic consensus, that the New Testament arrived to replace a burdensome legal code with an entirely new religion. This consensus relies on a reactive historical model. It assumes the Creator built a perfect world, witnessed its failure, and deployed a sequence of patches, first the law, then grace, as the system repeatedly broke down. A timeline audit shows data forked from Hebraic roots between the 2nd and 4th centuries. Marcion, Augustine, and Calvin introduced Greek philosophy, redirecting the main branch. Running these abstractions on an Israelite OS forces a crash, severing the root directory. The confusion in modern theology stems from this data corruption. Resolving the contradictions requires a forensic audit of the original specifications. Modern Western theology reflects a 1,700-year-old system error that fundamentally misunderstood the architect's original intent. Reconstructing this architecture begins with the one law, or Torah. This is the unalterable source code of the universe, representing the perfect specifications of the architect. The renewed covenant draws its meaning from the Hebrew kadash and the Greek kainos. These terms describe a refreshed version of the existing rules, rather than a chronological replacement. The failure of the Old Covenant resulted from a fatal hardware issue, human biology and will, referred to as the flesh. The source code was flawless, but the human interface was prone to systemic failure. The renewed covenant functions as a processor upgrade. The Holy Spirit acts as the new driver, allowing the human hardware to finally execute the original software. Upgrading a computer to run a high-end program provides the capacity to finally use that program. It does not provide a reason to delete the program itself. The Creator upgraded human capacity to ensure His unchanging standard could be executed as originally designed. The Phase 1 deployment at Mount Sinai established the source code as an external reality, physically imposed upon a specific people. This law was holy, just, and good, a flawless dataset. However, its execution relied on the volatile and finite resource of human willpower. The flesh acted as a corrupted interface. This external law functioned as a mirror, showing the smudge on the face of humanity, while lacking the power to wash it off. The resulting systemic crash led to the spiritual adultery of the house of Israel, triggering a legal divorce and their exile into the nations. The failure of the Old Covenant stands as an intentional historical proof of concept, demonstrating the absolute necessity of the Spirit. The coerced knowledge trap introduced by Augustine and Calvin treats the Creator as a programmer forcing deterministic outcomes on human puppets. Foreknowledge is architectural. A master architect anticipates a bridge's stress points, encoding reinforcements into blueprints before construction begins. The fall and Israel's exile were anticipated stress points. The lamb slain from the foundation was the pre-encoded reinforcement. Choice is the essential component of the architecture. Removing the capacity to disobey negates the value of obedience, turning a relationship into a mechanical necessity. The architect's ultimate objective is a people whose capacity to reject the law makes their choice to follow it a relational reality. In covenantal terms, this is the voluntary bride, a people who choose the architect's path from a state of genuine volition. The entire architecture of history serves as a sifting process to find those who voluntarily choose the Creator's original design. To understand the logic of the restoration, we must examine the passage in Colossians 2, where the Apostle Paul is often interpreted as claiming the law was abolished. The forensic key is the Greek legal term cheirographon, which history has often mistranslated as the law of Moses. In the 1st century, a cheirographon was a criminal debt ledger, a personalized record of specific crimes and the death penalties owed by the offender. Roman legal practice involved nailing this specific charge sheet to a cross to publicly display the individual's guilt. The cross paid the penalty and shredded the specific criminal debt ledger. The overarching constitution of the kingdom remains perfectly intact. As the perfect, spirit-indwelt man, Yeshua acted as the kin redeemer. His death legally resolved the adultery of the house of Israel, clearing the path for them to return to the covenant. Clearing a criminal's record allows them to finally live as law-abiding citizens under the original Constitution. Connecting the legal clearing of the debt to the macro-historical timeline reveals the specific scope of the mission. The Messiah explicitly limited his operational parameters, focusing his entire mission exclusively to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Centuries of scattering into the nations resulted in a biological dispersal. The house of Israel lost their identity, becoming legally indistinguishable from the Gentiles. The Great Commission functions as a massive DNA recovery mission aimed at these dormant nodes waking up in the nations. The apostolic letters function as reactionary maintenance manuals for these returning exiles, correcting localized deviations from the foundational instructions. These manuals instructed exiles on how to implement the one law without the interference of man-made sectarian traditions. The modern church represents the prophesied reassembly of the exiled house of Israel, finally discovering their ancestral source code. The law of love is often presented as a replacement for the law of Moses, a standard that bypasses the Creator's original instructions. The mechanical relationship is precise. The law provides the engine, the structure and rules, while love provides the fuel, the power to execute them. The law defines love, providing specific data on how to love the Creator vertically and the neighbor horizontally. The renewed covenant is the moment the internal hardware finally becomes capable of running the external software through the power of the Spirit. The highest form of relationship involves the power to voluntarily choose the architect's original design out of perfect love.